In this video, you will learn how to install Flutter on Mac OS. Okay, so if you are installing on an Apple silicon, then you will also need to run this command as well. This command will install Rosetta 2 onto your machine. So just copy the command here and now open your terminal and just paste the command here and press return or enter. And now you can see it's successfully installed. So next step here is to get the Flutter SDK, and if you are using the Intel CPU, then you can use this. And since again I'm using the Apple Silicon, then I can click here to download this stable versions of the Flutter SDK for Mac OS. The zip file is now downloaded. So here, this is the file. We just need to unzip it. Double click on this file. Okay, so this is the folder and we need to create another folder. So let's just call this one as dev, all right? And what we're going to do is to move this Flutter folder here into this dev. Next is we need to add the Flutter tool to the path. So to do that, here come the terminal. So what you're gonna do is to type echo shell. Okay, so once you type that, this is the /bin/zsh. So next is we need to edit the file, right? So to edit a file, it will be vim zshrc. And here we can basically add the line with the path here, right? Export path, we can just quickly copy it up until here. And to edit the file, we just need to type I on your keyboard. So here we are now in the insert mode. And we can just add the path on top here, right? On top of the file. So just paste it here. Export path equal to $path colon, and this is the path of the Flutter. You just need to drag the whole folder here and paste it here, right, to get the path. So users only /dev. And next is the Flutter folder /bin, and don't forget the double quote. Okay, so here let's have a look inside the Flutter folder. We have the bin folder here, right? So this is the path, and now we press on the escape key, and next is to press on :WQ. So we basically exit this text editor and we save the changes as well. So now we've done updating this file, and now we reopen the terminal again. So the next command will be flutter -- version. We want to check the versions of the Flutter. All right, just wait a bit and now have a look, and here this is the Flutter versions, and the next command would be flutter doctor. So the command here, we want to check whether we successfully install it, if there is any things that we need to configure further. All right, so press enter. Now it take a while. Okay, so here is seem like the Xcode is also done configure as well. So if you face any issue with the Xcode, then you can just scroll down and now take a look at the iOS section. Okay, so iOS setup, and you will need to run this command. All right, so this will configure the Xcode to use the newly installed version of the Xcode. Okay, and this is the next one as well. And to install the Xcode application, you just need to go to App Store, search for Xcode and install this application, right? So the next step would be to set up the iOS simulator. So this is the command. Let's just copy this, go back to the terminal, just paste it here. Next step is to open Xcode, and we need to install 2 extensions. Okay, so click on this icon called extensions, and we're going to search for Flutter. So here it is, and the other one is called dot. Okay, search for that as well. Okay, so seem like once I install Flutter, it automatically install the dot extension as well. So what are we going to do next is to press on Command Shift P and bring up this, right? And just type Flutter. So this will show the new project we want to basically create a new project, right? And it asks whether what type of project it will be the applications. So click on that one here. And here it tells us we need to select a folder to create a project in. So for this one here, I'll just create a new folder here called Flutter app. Okay, simple as that. And then I'm going to select this folder here and just give a name for the new projects. All right, I'm going to go with the default for now and then press enter. And we also need to trust the author. Okay, so now it has successfully installed this application, right? It automatically opened the main.dot file as well. And basically this is the title, right? And how do we run this in the simulator? So again, press on the Command Shift P. You're going to search for Flutter again, and this time we're going to go with the launch emulator. Okay, so this will ask us whether we want to open the simulator. We have a list of this, right? I have different simulator for Android as well, and this is for one for the iOS. And to run this application, you have to press on Control F5. Okay, so now it's launching. Yep, guys, the application is now running. We can press on this button to increase, right? This is the default app once we install the Flutter. Now let's continue looking at the documentations. So if you want to deploy it to the iOS device, then these are the steps. Will not show you in this tutorial, but the one that I'm going to show you here is this step here, right? You can skip this step if the app do not depend on the Flutter plugins that work with the native iOS code, right? So if you want to use some sort of like plugins, then you will need to run this command as well to install the Cocoa Pods. And if you're also using the Apple Silicon, then you will need to additionally run this command. So right now, since we have already run our simple applications, I would skip this step for now. Let's continue looking at here. So these are some of the steps that you will need to configure if you want to run it on your iPhone or iPad, right? So these are some of the other steps. And now let's have a look at the Android setup. The one that I showed you previously, right? You can see we have some issue with the Android, all right, when we run the Flutter Doctor, right? So here we're going to fix this issue as well. Here it just says that the component is missing the path to the SDK manager. So we will need to fix this issue. So let's have a look at the documentation first. These are some of the setup Android emulator. You need to download the Android Studio for this to run. Okay, so now I have opened the Android Studio, right? Next step to do is to click here, go to SDK Manager, and now open up this, right? So the first thing you will need to install some of the SDK, right? And this is the path, very important, all right? And then next is to install the SDK tool. This one is required, all right? It's called Android SDK command line tool. Let's just need to install this one here. Apply, okay, and now it's installing. The command line tools is installed. Now click on the finish and also apply, okay, all right. And then you also need to click on the virtual device manager as well. You need to create a device, right? You can just choose any one of the device here and then press continue up until you create, right? I have a few here just to test out different like screens and also the versions of the Android as well. Now let's go back to the terminal. What we're going to do is to run the command again. So Flutter Doctor, right? And now it tries to search for any issue if there is one. Okay, so it seems like the issue with the command line already fixed. And next is to some Android licenses not accepted. So to resolve this, we just need to run this command. So copy that down here, paste it and enter, and it asks whether we want to accept. Press Y again, one more, and then this is the other one. Okay, so everything is accepted. Now let's try to run this the final once last time. Okay, so no more issue found, right? So we have configure everything, including Xcode, Android, also VS Code as well. We install the extensions. All right. Now let me show you how to run this app in browser. Okay. So to run, basically we just need to run this command, right? Flutter run. Press enter, and here we will see the option, right? And also if you want to run this in either Chrome or Mac OS, right, you have to first quit the iOS simulator first. Okay, and now let me show you choose option number 2. We want to run it in Chrome, so press number 2, and now it's basically launching, okay, in the debug mode. And this is it, guys. We have the exact same application that I show you in the iOS simulator as well. And what is cool, I'm going to show you one last thing, right? And this time I'm going to choose the number 1, Mac OS. It can also create an application for Mac as well. So this is the Mac OS application, right? We have the exact same thing, right? This is again not running in the browser, but this is the Mac OS software itself. Okay, so this is very cool. You can run on iOS, Android, browser, and also Mac OS software as well. So yep, that's pretty much for this tutorial. You learn everything step by step from scratch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.